Alright, so here's the deal with this trade chatter that's been buzzing around involving the Miami Heat, the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Sacramento Kings. It's one of those situations where everything seems tangled up, kind of like a Rubik's Cube you're trying to solve, because the whole thing hinges on one key piece moving first, Jonathan Kuminga landing in Sacramento. That's the domino that sets the whole sequence into motion. If that move happens, it triggers a cascade of possibilities, where Sacramento might finally be willing to part ways with DeMar DeRozan, a major piece in their lineup, but one that the team may see as expendable if it means reconfiguring their roster around new goals now. From the Lakers' perspective, the idea of adding Andrew Wiggins has been floated for a while, but there's also talk about possibly snagging Keon Ellis, though that one feels a bit more like a long shot. Still, if the Lakers could manage to bring in both Ellis and Wiggins, that would be an ideal scenario, kind of a chef's kiss deal for them. More realistically, though, you might see something closer to Malik Monk and Wiggins arriving together, which would still add a lot of depth and scoring punch off the bench. The Lakers are looking for someone who can really step up as a reliable scorer coming off the bench, someone who can take on that sixth-man role and provide instant offense. This becomes especially important if the Lakers decide to move on from Austin Reeves at some point down the line. Now, Monk isn't exactly the guy you'd slot into a starting role right away, but he can definitely bring some production and playmaking from the bench, which would help fill the gap if Reeves moves on or their lineup shifts. Of course, this whole scenario is complicated by the fact that the initial trigger is Kuminga moving to Sacramento. If that doesn't happen, the entire chain breaks down, which means Sacramento might have to rethink their strategy. Sacramento's situation is unique because they have roughly $7.5 million in cap space under the hard cap apron, which gives them some wiggle room that Miami doesn't quite have. Miami is much tighter, reportedly around $4 million under the apron, so their flexibility to absorb salaries is limited. That's where the complexity of an Andrew Wiggins trade for the Lakers comes in. If Miami is asking for certain pieces in return, the Lakers would have to involve a third team because they don't have enough salary space to take on Wiggins' contract outright without moving some salary out first. It's not just about swapping players. The Lakers need to clear cap space or send out enough salary to make the numbers work, which gets tricky because a 2-for-1 swap means they have to fill the now open roster spot, so even if the salaries technically match, there's still a need to bring someone in these kinds of deals. You're looking at sending out players like Rui Hachimura, Gabe Vincent, and Dalton Kincaid to balance the books. Sacramento is probably the most logical destination for those pieces, since they can take on that extra salary, given their cap flexibility. And this is why the trade discussions have so many moving parts and why it can feel like a massive puzzle, with pieces that have to fit perfectly. Now, if Sacramento misses out on Kuminga, they're in a bit of a bind. They have Dennis Schroeder on their roster, and the buzz is that they want to bring in Russell Westbrook, who plays with the ball in his hands a lot. That kind of player demands a specific style of offense where the rest of the team plays off the ball. Sacramento seems ready to move on from players like Malik Monk and possibly even DeMar DeRozan to make room for these new pieces and a new style. If Miami is genuinely interested in DeRozan, as reports suggest, that could actually simplify things. Imagine a clean trade where DeRozan heads to Miami, Wiggins lands with the Lakers, and Sacramento gets a package including Rui Hachimura, Dalton Kincaid, and Gabe Vincent. Sacramento takes on the salary but gains valuable wings who can shoot and play off the ball, fitting the roster construction they want. Hachimura's three-point shooting and catch-and-shoot ability would help Sacramento space the floor, while younger players like Kincaid offer potential to develop. There's even the possibility of adding a fourth team if needed to shuffle pieces around and balance salaries. But the core idea remains straightforward. Miami gets the scorer they want in DeRozan. Lakers add Wiggins as a two-way wing, and Sacramento reshapes its roster with shooters and youth. Of course, if Malik Monk is involved, it adds another layer. The Lakers could pick him up to help offset the loss of someone like Austin Reeves if they decide to trade him later. Monk's versatility as a scorer and secondary ball handler makes him a valuable bench asset, especially since he's comfortable coming off the bench rather than starting, which aligns with what the Lakers might want. This scenario also helps the Lakers upgrade their wing positions, potentially allowing someone like Wiggins to shift to the two-guard spot while they fill the three with another defensive-minded player, creating a better balance on both ends of the floor. Imagine a lineup with LeBron James, Wiggins, and someone like Herb Jones working together to lock down opponents, while still providing offensive firepower from Sacramento's perspective. If they bring in Russell Westbrook, they're getting a true on-ball creator, which changes the dynamic of their offense. That means they need more off-ball players who can shoot and move without the ball, which explains why they want to move on from Malik Monk and DeRozan, who can sometimes demand the ball in their hands to be effective. Players like Hachimura and Kincaid fit that off-ball mold much better. For Miami, acquiring DeRozan would give them a proven scorer who can create his own shot and complement their existing core. If they can package some role players like Gabe Vincent in the deal, it helps balance their salary situation and also gives them some roster flexibility. At the end of the day, this whole multi-team trade idea revolves around cap management and roster fit. Each team has clear needs. Miami wants scoring. The Lakers want wing depth and scoring off the bench. And Sacramento wants to shift their roster to fit a new style around Westbrook and their existing stars. The beauty of a three-team trade here is that it allows each franchise to solve problems simultaneously. Miami gets a star scorer, the Lakers get defensive versatility and scoring punch, and Sacramento gains the salary relief and roster balance they need while adding players who fit their new vision. There's still a lot of uncertainty, especially with whether Kuminga ends up in Sacramento, which seems like the linchpin for the entire chain of events. If that falls through, this whole scenario might have to be rethought or broken up into smaller moves. But if it comes together, it could reshape the landscape for all three teams involved. And when you think about the Lakers possibly turning a package of Gabe Vincent, Rui Hachimura, and Dalton Kincaid into Andrew Wiggins, that alone would be a big win for them, especially if they can add Monk or Ellis alongside. That kind of depth and versatility could make a big difference as they look to contend again. On the flip side, Sacramento absorbing some extra salary isn't a problem thanks to their cap space under the apron. So taking on contracts like those of Vincent or Kincaid helps them while letting Miami and the Lakers work within their tighter financial situations. Ultimately, the trade talks show how intricate and interconnected NBA roster building is, especially in a league with salary caps and luxury tax rules that force teams to think creatively and work together. This three-way deal, if it happens, would be a perfect example of that kind of strategic maneuvering. Picking up where we left off, the potential three-team trade involving Miami, Los Angeles, and Sacramento isn't just about moving pieces on a roster board. It's about the strategic recalibration of franchises aiming to maximize their competitiveness within the salary cap framework. The NBA has become such a chess game, where it's not enough to just have star players, you need role players who fit your system, contracts that align, and the financial flexibility to make future moves. In this context, the move of Jonathan Kuminga to Sacramento acts as the first pivotal step that could unlock the entire sequence. Kuminga, still young but with impressive upside, represents a foundational asset that Sacramento might be eyeing as part of their rebuild or retool around a new core. If Sacramento manages to acquire Kuminga, it frees them up to consider moving a player like DeMar DeRozan, whose contract and playing style may not fit their evolving vision, especially with the reported desire to bring in Russell Westbrook. Westbrook is an old-school ball-dominant point guard, demanding teammates who can play off the ball and space the floor effectively. DeRozan and Monk, both capable scorers, tend to require the ball in their hands to reach peak effectiveness. This mismatch creates a natural incentive for Sacramento to offload them to teams that value their skill sets differently. Miami, in this case, stands out as a prime candidate, given their need for a proven scorer like DeRozan, someone who can both create his own shot and provide leadership on a roster that has shown flashes, but still needs that consistent offensive weapon. Before we continue, we ask that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Lakers updates. Moving on, whispers around the NBA have ignited once again, and this time the name at the center of the storm is none other than Kevin Durant. Multiple sources close to the league suggest that the Los Angeles Lakers may be closing in on what could be one of the most seismic moves in recent memory, bringing Durant to Hollywood. While nothing has been officially confirmed, the speculation has taken on a life of its own, with insiders hinting that talks between Durant's camp and Lakers executives have intensified in recent weeks. The possibility of Durant donning the purple and gold has fans buzzing across the league. Some believe that the move is being pushed behind closed doors, as the Lakers look to build one last championship-caliber roster around LeBron James, whose career is unmistakably in its twilight. Adding Durant to a mix that already includes Anthony Davis could instantly vault the Lakers back into true contender status, something they have struggled to maintain since their 2020 title run. There's also chatter that Durant himself is intrigued by the idea of playing under the Los Angeles spotlight, pairing with LeBron, something the league has never seen before, and which could rewrite the final chapters of both players' legacies. While Durant has not made any public statements about his future, his recent silence on social media has only added fuel to the speculation. Still, others urge caution. Durant is under contract, and any move would require serious front office maneuvering. The Lakers would likely need to part ways with key assets or bring a third team into the fold to make salaries work, but in a league where blockbuster deals happen overnight, few are ruling it out. For now, it's all speculation, but the idea of Kevin Durant joining the Lakers is no longer just a dream whispered by fans in barbershops or Twitter threads. The rumor is alive, and if history has taught us anything, where there's smoke in the NBA, there's often fire. Stay informed exclusively about Los Angeles Lakers news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep receiving daily updates. Also, share your opinion on the news in the comments, as your contribution is crucial for the Lakers. Stay tuned for the next video.